Hey guys, Rorius here. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright. We're jumping into the courtroom for the second day of trials. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana? Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? So, how did it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects, the police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I am as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have in my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall. We have to play the cards we dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to, Mr. Wright. Yeah, I don't feel good about this. What's Edgeworth gonna have up his sleeve? Though he wasn't able to investigate, so... Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. I fucking love that line. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I'll present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what he's going on himself. What's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait. Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Yeah, Mr. Meekins. Things are getting wild from the get-go. I like the noise of the people talking in the background. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you... Sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adult can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Please, help me, sir. Why does everyone stop saying sir after talking to Meekins? Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. What the fuck is up with him? You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Something really wrong with Meekins. Did it say crime report, sir? Is that what it said? Though it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard at the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, and then I did it. What is with this case? Both? We have two people confessing to the same murder. It's so weird. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. That's different from what he said yesterday. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted, and a colleague helped you regain consciousness? Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. This case is jumbling my brain. This case is just a jumble. It's such a mess. Crime report, sir. It did say crime report, sir? Okay, let's just press everything. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. It's so creepy. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. But it was broken. There's like a bit of tape over the ear. I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh. Oh, so that's why you went into the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Well, a suspicious man on the security screen rushed into the room. Okay, press him. In order to enter the evidence room, you needed an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? I know, it's the 498, I'm sure. There it is, I found it! It's the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. 498-9596. That's my number, sir. I see, huh? But the number 498-9596. It enters twice. It was shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That's when I spotted the man on the security screen. Data added to ID card record. Yep. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Oh. Fought for my life and then I did it. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look like the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. So yeah, he didn't stab him. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then the next thing I knew... Yes! He punched me right in my face, sir. After that I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Alright. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. Blue Badger, sir. I returned to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Yes, it's the tape. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? Delivered it? What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. I was gonna say, what? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. That's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well, it's terrible. It's like... Yeah, Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word, murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder? Just what are we getting ourselves into? Is it gonna be a cutscene? Holy crap, it is. Oh, don't remind me. That's so creepy. Okay, Goodman's thing was closed. Yeah, it's definitely Goodman. Yeah, it's Goodman opening. Oh my god, of course. Something fell from it. Of course it was covering his face. The fucking thing. Oh, there he is. There's Meekins. Why is the camera positioned like this? Such an awkward camera. Jesus. You'd think that Meekins had been killed. Goodman avoided the camera. Oh, I bet Marshall was the one who found him. I bet Marshall was the one who found Meekins. And that's why he has a bloody handprint. I bet the locker that has the thing dangling out of it is Marshall's locker. Even though he's not a detective, I bet that's gonna be his locker and that's why his handprint was on there. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised? This isn't going smoothly. This is such a mess of a case. Video from the security camera placed in the evidence room. Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sure, sir. Okay, Mystery Man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint too. To do. Is there a possibility that it isn't Goodman? Oh, I don't know. What if it's Marshall with Goodman's jacket on? What if it's Marshall with Goodman's jacket on? The officer the locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by a detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I'm convinced now that Marshall... Wait, I'm just gonna look at something. I'm wondering if Marshall dressed up as Goodman, but he used some kind of glove to allow for, that looked like, Detective Goodman's fingers. So he could open Detective Goodman's thing. He got confronted by Meekins, and so out of panic, he, like, knocked Meekins out. And then, like, ran out with blood, with Meekins' blood on him. And left a trail of blood as he went. But then, how did it... I was so confused. Anyway, let's just push. Let's just press everything. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would classify... I believe I would be classified as the latter. The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking to them, you see. Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it. I don't think it was. I'm pretty sure that's gonna come to light soon enough. But there's no question the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having... You're right, seen or not seen. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Eek! Having been shown a questionable video at best, we're not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished the knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us you are positive it was him. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprints to yeah. About these lockers, is there no other ways to... About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir. And this too. The locker you opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to the Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir! Please do! After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. Oh. I don't remember seeing a problem. There's a problem. Regarding the video contained on this tape, is it the fact that, firstly, you don't see him actually open the locker? The locker's already open once he's there? Or is it lit up? Did I miss the fact that it might have been lit up before he got there? Or is it the fact that he disappeared after the thing was opened? He just sort of disappeared. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. I was gonna do it. He would have me, he would want me to point it out. Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us the contradiction that you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause. Okay, good. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where's the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Wait, okay. Let's leave it. There! I knew it! I was like, it's gonna be one of these things. Present. The light's already lit up. It's already unlocked. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir! Do you mean me, sir? Who else would it be? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. We got explained by Gumshoe, yeah. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match... Oh, who's that? Is there a female detective or a female officer that Gumshoe is crushing on? The light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Please stop playing the music. It's really disturbing. Right there. Okay, please. Oh my god, it's so creepy. It was already open when he arrived. Oh, it does actually show him opening it, doesn't it? Yeah. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker. Let's rewind to a little earlier. Oh my god. God damn it. Please. This is like the snot bubble thing. Here, notice the light. What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have been... That... Oh! Is that officer in the police department... Is he giving you hints about the case? He talked about... Whoa, that's blown my mind. I haven't noticed that before. I've inspected or examined the officer sitting on the left side of the police department so many times throughout the game, and I have never noticed this before. But this time he was just saying... He was talking about how if you use like dry ice or something on the lock of the door, it would stay open. He said something along those lines when I examined him this time. He talked about the door staying open, and either with dry ice or something like that, something to keep the door open. Oh, I know. It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert on this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh, well, it goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yeah, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor. Something jammed the system, the sensor? Say. There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. This. Is it this? Let's just try it. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. I wish I could fast forward this part as well. At least the music isn't playing. I don't mind the video, it's just the freaking music. It's like the music paired with that, the movement of like an animatronic. Yeah, there. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my what? We can't be sure what that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Yeah. Just so that the sensor couldn't read that the door was there and so it just didn't lock. It was placed there to keep the door open. Yeah. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It's clearly the glove that we were talking about earlier. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get it stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, the tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene. There just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. A rubber glove. Something rubber as an insulator. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the door? Where is it? There it is. I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that it was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp suggests attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir! It would appear so, sir! These animations are wild. Order, order, order! So, we are to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman. Witness was stabbed in the evidence room. Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir? Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. This is a joke. Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man 2. Oh my god. Oh, I love it when the badass music kicks in. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime? Yes, without a doubt this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using the room? This particular evidence room is only used for sorting certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. His hair is always on end. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Okay. There's one other thing that proves bad with Detective Goodman, so. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give a V for victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Into the evidence room, one must use their ID card. Is that card hanging from your neck one of those ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. What if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's when my ID card gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. Let it be noted that this is the record of the witness that the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What's the matter? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honor. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, you could hide the evidence. Mommy, is that man in blue a murderer? Shh, don't stare at him. Got the wrong color. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let's continue with the cross-examination. I have a bad feeling something bad's gonna happen with Mr. Edgeworth. With Miles before the end of this. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? Oh, this is the middle ground conversation. I'm confused. What? The problem with his ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. They're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. ID card's use a record of it at the time the crime was used. We've had used his ID card. How do I prove, like, the fact that he, I'm not sure where to present, sorry. I clearly have to present some evidence. Oh. Lost item report? He had lost his ID card and he was writing it out to get it replaced. Holy shit. Do I present this? Is this the right place to present this? I was gonna say, like, I was gonna present the ID card because it was found at the crime scene. But no, I think it's this. I think it's this. I didn't notice that before. I was like, what is this? And why is there a 5 and then like oh, there's a 9 crossed out. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. It was at the prosecutor's parking lot. Order, order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Yeah. And it was dropped by Officer Marshall on the crime scene so that it would look like, yep. He had just dropped it in the confrontation, or someone had dropped it. Order, order, order! Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to surmise the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room where Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? He's pointing out that I'm proving that Meekins didn't kill Goodman, and that the only killer could be Lana. I'm shooting myself in the foot, is what I'm doing. That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also a fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is, well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place in one location, the underground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I see, I knew this was happening. Yeah. I was thinking that while we were doing it as well. I was like, why all we're doing is proving that that what was happening in the police department was relevant. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... Yeah, I know what I have to do though. What do I do? Am I supposed to get... No, you never wait and see what happens. It's always the wrong choice. I'm supposed to get myself out of this mess. Actually, no, once it was the answer. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Come on. I wonder if there's a time skip in the video. I haven't been looking at the time. Because where does Goodman go? However, it cannot be said that this is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this event. So like another day? Is that the idea? This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, who do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place at the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Ah, it actually uses this little menu. Yes, it's pretty obvious. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Oh, okay. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. I was wanting to do the whole trial in one episode, but I think we're gonna have to do the Marshall part in a second part. Much like we did the Gant part in a second episode last time. That's what's different with this episode, is that the court cases are taking way longer than normal. And in the investigation sections, there's all the extra, like, spraying, dusting, and little details that weren't in the main game. So, like, it feels like there's an extra episode on each section. An extra episode per investigation, sort of. And an extra episode per trial. Which makes a lot more episodes than the normal amount. But we'll do this little part here, and then we'll when we go back to the courtroom, we'll do that in the next episode. February 24, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh my god. That juxtaposition between Gumshoe and Lana, like complete opposites. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Skye. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? What is happening? You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? I see. Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? Oh, the SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Oh, she was a witness. Miss Skye was a witness? Files for the Joe Dark killing solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana! This SL9 incident, is that? That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago. The rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No, Lana. That's over with, no! Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Oh, Jake Marshall. Angel Star, Damon... Yeah, Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Yeah, I'll have to examine it when we start the court case in the next episode. Well, let's save it. Oh, I accidentally pressed circle. Okay, let's just leave this here. If you like what you saw, hit like. If you want to see more from me, then subscribe. Yeah, we'll do the next part of the case, the next part of the trial in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, I'm very curious to see how close my predictions are.